Hi everyone, welcome back. In this second installment of our tech series, the What Is Tech series, we will talk about the virtual private network. So if you're new here and haven't followed our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel, don't forget to tap the follow button on Facebook and or the subscribe button on our YouTube channel to see more MCPL content. We bring you interesting videos every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So don't worry, if you're eager to learn and forget to do these things right now, I'll remind you at the end of the video. So in this video, we want to answer the following questions. What is a virtual private network and how does it work? So this video is not intended to cover every aspect of VPNs or explore them in a super technical capacity. VPNs themselves are not inherently difficult to understand, but it's whether to use one that is your choice to weigh in on. I'll give you the basics, but cannot tell you either way whether you should use one or which one to use. So without further ado, let's do some learning. I'm going to be using my handy dandy iPad. I find that pictures sometimes help us understand technology situations a lot better, but please don't comment on my horrid drawing skills. Let's get started. So let's think of the purpose of a VPN in a corporate setting, where it was originally used. Say you work in an office building with a few remote locations and remote workers. When they're in the office, you have access to your files, and the company databases that make it possible to do your job. Good, easy, thumbs up. So here's what your company network looks like. You have a range of computers, a file server, and database servers all on the same network. You have the ability and permissions to access certain files and databases to send and receive data from. You also access your staff intranet and use the internet with the help of the company router. The router protects this entire system with a firewall to prevent anyone from disrupting this network. But say you're at a remote location and need access to your files that are on the company's network. There are some options you have, but they won't work for where you are now. So for instance, you can't run a cable from the company's router to your computer. That's impractical. And it's highly unlikely that that company that you're visiting will let you drill holes in the walls to run cables. So you could get a modem to connect to your company's route network, but that's not feasible and nobody's trying to carry around a modem that's as big as a cable box. Okay, so what can you do? You're using Wi-Fi in a public location with no access to your work files. So this is where a VPN comes in handy. Since your company has remote workers and multiple locations, they've installed a VPN service on everyone's laptops. A VPN, or virtual private network, gives users access to the files and servers they need, even when not physically connected to the network that they're trying to access. So like I mentioned before, a firewall protects the company's network from IP addresses it doesn't recognize. So the VPN essentially hides the IP address of your computer and uses its own IP address in order to help your computer access the network. So if you aren't sure what an IP address is, think of it as the home address for your computer and the address for any website on the internet. These addresses help other computers find one another on the internet. The reason your computer cannot access the server for your company when you're not on location is because the firewall your work router created keeps that information private from the internet. So your computer literally cannot find the server where you've saved your work files because it doesn't know the IP address. It's no longer on the same network as the router, servers, and other computers. So what a VPN does to fix this is change the location of access by making the connection to the destination server from its IP address instead of yours. So essentially, a VPN works by using a tunnel that routes all of your network traffic and data through the internet to a server by shielding your IP address and encrypting your web activity. So how does that work? So when you connect your computer to the VPN, the computer looks like it's on the same network as where the VPN server is located. Now, if that server happens to be in another country, it can make it look like you're located in another country. This allows you to access resources on local networks like your documents on your employer's network when you're not on site. Your company's VPN makes it appear to the network as if you're in the building. So it gives you all the same access and permissions, even though you know that you're off site. So, in a normal browsing session, this is what happens. You're wanting to access google.com. Your browser asks your computer, who asks the domain name server or the router, who asks your internet service provider for access to google.com. Your internet service provider or your ISP says, sure, here you go. And obviously, that's a rough draft of what happens, but essentially, the parties involved, your computer, your internet service provider, and then whatever website you're trying to access. So, in a secure browsing session with a VPN, the chain now includes you, a VPN tunnel, and the internet. Now, if you use a VPN to access something, then any connection to that something is essentially indirect. You try to access Google via the VPN, the connection will first be from you to the VPN so that your internet service provider can see that there's a connection and how much traffic you do there, but the content and what you're accessing using the VPN is encrypted, so they can't see that. So the connection will continue on from the VPN, so using the VPN's address, which is different from your address, to the Google server. So essentially, it goes you to the VPN, and then the VPN to the website. Your ISP is not essentially involved in that connection. So the server that you're accessing will see the VPN's IP address and not your IP address. So if you put that in perspective with your company, if you log into the VPN, the router is going to see the VPN's IP address, but not yours, because your IP address is now different. But your job or your company can configure the VPN service that they've installed on everyone's computers to say, hey, make it seem like these computers accessing the VPN are coming from this location. So that way the router will accept them. So by now you may be like, oh, that's cool. Or, Brittany, shut up. I heard that I can use a VPN to hide myself when I'm on the internet, and I can use like British Netflix or something. Sorta, yeah. Nowadays, people consider VPNs to be like a, what's that Harry Potter thing? The cloak of invisibility or something like that. I hope that's right. I don't know. Sorry, Potter stans. Which essentially will make you invisible while you're on the internet, so hiding your internet activity from hackers or snoopers or your internet service provider. But it does not work quite like that at all. So, yes, your VPN can encrypt data in an effort to hide your web activity and disguise your IP address. But the idea that VPNs offer pure anonymity is a bit misleading. There are still ways for laws, government agencies, private entities, law enforcement, and your internet service provider to get around your VPN usage and still find out information if they really want to. So, as well, your IP address is only one data point used to identify you on the internet. So sites can track your use from where you click onto a page, what time you clicked on that page, what you accessed when you were in that website, what ID you used to log into a certain website, what your online accounts are, your social media, and any other point on your internet footprint, and any other information that your hardware can use or gives off to show that that's you can be made known. So all of that to say, consider a VPN as a tool, but not as an entire shield for protecting your online identity. VPNs weren't initially created for private or even consumer use. They were pathways for businesses to have more secure communication with remote offices and workers, since most traffic via the internet wasn't always encrypted. So use a VPN for the right reasons and have the right expectations, knowing their limitations. You may find that a VPN isn't for you, and that's okay. You may have to change your online behavior while you use a VPN, and that's okay. All right, so that's what I have for you today. You're awesome for sticking with me as we learned about VPNs. Thank you so much for being here, and watch out for more videos from us. The next video in our What Is Tech series will be about the dark web. We'll learn about the dark web, what it is, and how it works. Have a good day. And we want to thank you for watching. Follow us to find more videos just like this. Our page on Facebook is MCPL 360. We're here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you miss us on Facebook, you'll still find these same videos on our YouTube channel at MCPL Mo. Find our Consumer Technology playlist. Have a good day.